On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service attacked the United States Naval Base at Pearl Harbor in Honolulu, Hawaii. The attack sank or damaged 21 ships, destroyed 188 aircraft, and killed over 2,400 Americans. The following day, the United States of America declared war on the Empire of Japan. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor and the ensuing war, long-standing anti-Japanese prejudices intensified. On February 19, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued Executive Order 9066, authorizing and directing the Secretary of War to prescribe military areas from which any or all persons may be excluded. On the West Coast, men, women, and children of Japanese ancestry were systematically rounded up and held at temporary detention facilities, most of which were hastily set up at fairgrounds and racetracks. They were allowed to take only what they could carry and given a few days to settle their affairs. They left behind their pets, homes, farms, and businesses. Farther inland, the War Relocation Authority built 10 incarceration camps in desolate areas. These camps were comprised of wooden barracks, with tar paper walls and compounds with barbed wire fences and guard towers manned by armed soldiers. Inmates from the detention centers were transferred to these camps. By August 1942, 120,000 men, women, and children had been transferred from the temporary detention centers to the incarceration camps. Of the inmates, nearly 70,000 were children or young adults born in the United States and thus citizens. 2,500 were students in colleges and universities when they were uprooted and incarcerated. In May 1942, Milton S. Eisenhower, the director of the War Relocation Authority, asked Clarence E. Pickett, Executive Secretary of the American Friends Service Committee, to form a committee to help students from the concentration camps pursue their higher education in colleges and universities outside the West Coast exclusion zone.
Dear Mr. Pickett, many eminent educators have urged that the university students in the prohibited zone be permitted to transfer to Midwestern colleges where they may continue their education. Certainly, I agree that this would be desirable. I should like to ask that you establish a committee which would aid you in formulating a set of policies and program. Let me emphasize that the federal government, for the protection of the students and to reassure the public, will make individual examinations and give individual certifications. It is equally necessary to see to it that difficulties would not develop in the new locations to which the students would go. Sincerely yours, Milton S. Eisenhower, Director, War Relocation Authority, May 1942.
In establishing the National Japanese American Student Relocation Council and setting up the policies and procedures for its work, Pickett and the AFSC were keenly aware of the obstacles they faced, determining the requirements for a student to be released from the camps, navigating the bureaucracy, securing financial support for the students, and managing public opinion. The Relocation Council included educators and civic and religious leaders. The process for relocation was lengthy and complicated. Colleges and universities interested in receiving students must be cleared by the War and Navy departments, and students must be cleared by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Relocation Council's small paid staff and large number of dedicated volunteers worked with a large and diverse range of individuals and organizations, including government agencies, private foundations, religious organizations, colleges and universities, and the students and their families. The council helped the students secure releases from the camps, raised funds, found placements in suitable institutions, served as a clearinghouse, liaised between the students and governmental, religious, and private groups, and supported the students and their families in many ways. Because of widespread racism and wartime hysteria, the students who relocated to colleges and universities were under scrutiny and expected to be exemplary in their conduct, demeanor, and academic performance.
I am keenly aware of the responsibilities I bear in accepting your aid. I shall surely strive to show our fellow Americans the hearts of us Americans with Japanese faces. Helen Matsunaga, student, Rockford College, 1943.
In spite of the difficult work and the hostile wartime context, the Relocation Council was largely successful. By the time it closed in 1946, it had helped over 4,000 students pursue higher education at over 600 institutions. One of these institutions was Warren H. Wilson Vocational Junior College in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. Founded in 1894 in Swannanoa as the Asheville Farm School by the Women's Board of Home Missions of the Presbyterian Church, it was a boarding school that offered the first 3 grades of elementary education to underprivileged boys in the Appalachian Mountains. From there, the farm school grew so that it graduated its first high school class in 1923. In 1942, the Asheville Farm School merged with 2 other Presbyterian mission schools for girls. The Mossop School in Harriman, Tennessee, and the Dorland Bell School in Hot Springs, North Carolina, to form the co-educational Warren H. Wilson Vocational Junior College, located on the farm school campus. It was a difficult time for the college as it adjusted to its new identity in a wartime environment. It worked to provide appropriate housing and classrooms, and to overcome financial enrollment and accreditation challenges. Nevertheless, the staff and students took up a collection at the end of that year and sent Christmas presents to young Japanese American inmates incarcerated at the Heart Mountain Relocation Center in Wyoming.
Mr. Bannerman was surprised to have received a deluge of letters from various Japanese in the internment center of Heart Mountain, Wyoming, an appreciation of $20 worth of Christmas presents for the youth of the center. The Wilson Echo, January 1943.
Thanks a million for the shaving bowl. It was very American of you to send a gift to someone you didn't know, and that someone being, as one might term it, an enemy alien. Jiro Nagumo, inmate, Heart Mountain Relocation Center, 1943.
In 1942, Catherine Gladfelter, Assistant Secretary for Educational and Medical Work of the Board of National Missions of the Presbyterian Church, wrote to Arthur Bannerman, president of the newly created Warren H. Wilson Vocational Junior College, about the possibility of accepting 2 Japanese American students in the fall of 1943. Bannerman presented the matter at a staff meeting.
There were no objections raised by the staff. A general discussion took place, and it was decided that it was a question which must be decided by the students and community, rather than by our staff. It was thought a good idea to approach the ministers in the community with the matter. It was felt it was important how the matter was presented to students and townfolk. Dr. Jensen was sure that if enough groundwork was done first, the students would accept the Japanese, and if the community was approached in the right way, they too would take it in the right spirit. Staff meeting, December 1942.
Bannerman had arrived at the Asheville Farm School in 1928 as a teacher and married Lucille Patton, an elementary school teacher in Swannanoa, in 1930. Patton's ancestors were pioneers in the area in the 1790s. Bannerman's connection to the Patton family gave him recognition in the local community. His people skills and leadership style gained him standing and respect that helped him obtain acceptance of the idea of Japanese American students at Warren Wilson. On campus, the students had many lively discussions before voting on the issue.
An extremely debated subject has had many reverberations on our campus of late. Within the past 4 weeks, there have been 2 open forums on this topic in our chapel programs. Mr. Bannerman's Sunday school class presented to the student body and faculty several interesting and provocative points, both pro and con. Dr. Jensen's Sunday school group had another forum on February 10th, which introduced new points on the question. Bill Dial, student, Warren Wilson Vocational Junior College, February 1943.
As a member of the student body, I have heard many of these discussions. We should let these students come to our school, and after they are here, we should do our best to make them happy. We should forget our prejudices against one of another race or color. Polly Beard, student, Warren Wilson Vocational Junior College, February 1943.
As I see it, most of the arguments which have been advanced against this proposal are based on the viewpoint that all Japanese are potentially dangerous enemies. According to our government, this is not true. Thousands of American citizens of Japanese blood are in our military forces or in defense plants. They are buying war bonds and otherwise are engaged in the total war effort. Any American-born Japanese young people who would come to our campus would be from Japanese family who came to this country for the same reason our ancestors came, to escape religious or political persecution, or because this was the land of promise. What are we fighting for? Is it democracy? Christianity? Does either teach that certain Americans, whether of Japanese, German, Jewish, Scots, Irish, or any other blood, are to be kept in concentration camps and denied the privileges of citizenship while others enjoy those rights? It would seem, then, that as citizens of our American democracy and as a group of Christian people, there is but one answer to the question of what our attitude should be toward loyal American citizens of Japanese blood. Arthur M. Bannerman, 1943.
On February 18, 1943, the students voted unanimously to accept the Japanese American students. Kuniko Hirokawa and Yoshiko Sally Mizokami were inmates at the Colorado River Poston Relocation Center in Arizona. Both women were from California. Kuni from Watsonville and Sally from Monterey. Kuni was an education major, while Sally majored in music with a concentration in piano. Kuni recalled,
"When I think of the day we arrived in the camp, the very first picture that comes to mind is the tar-papered barracks baking in the 120-degree heat and the awful dust storms which made it impossible to see the next barrack. As soon as we arrived, we were given our block, barrack, and apartment numbers. We found in our rooms 5 army cots and cotton bags for each cot's mattress, and a bale of straw to fill them. That was all we found in our apartment. The housing units are grouped in blocks. About 250 people live in one block. In each block, there are 14 barracks, 1 mess hall, laundry and ironing rooms, and latrines. The barracks are 20 feet wide and 100 feet long and are divided into 4 apartments. A family of 5 to 8 people live in one of these apartments, which means that 4 families live in a barrack. Those who can and want to work are given project jobs. The The highest pay is $19 a month for the professional workers, $16 for skilled workers, and $12 for unskilled workers.
In the fall of 1943, Kuni and Sally boarded a train and traveled to Asheville, North Carolina, to attend Warren H. Wilson Vocational Junior College. Arthur Bannerman met them at the train depot. Mrs. Evelyn DeVries, a staff member at the college, recalled that everyone looked at him and looked at the Japanese girls. Mrs. Lucille Bannerman said, "People just looked daggers at them." At Warren Wilson, Kuni and Sally became good friends and made many other friends among the staff and students. Like other students on campus, they worked on campus as members of work crews. They were active in the campus community. Kuni worked on the weaving crew and wrote in the Owl and Spade, the student newspaper.
Our school is very fortunate in having a weaving department and a capable supervisor to instruct the girls in all the principles of weaving. The department has put on a display in the library of some of their products. There were runners, bags, towels, rugs, pot holders, and napkin rings. There was a special towel of fingertip pattern which was designed and woven by Carol Fowler. The honeysuckle is the most popular pattern, and from the original, many new and different patterns can be made.
She was a youth leader in the church and taught Sunday school. She joined other Warren Wilson students to serve in the local community.
The college Bible class went on a 30-mile trip last week to visit a Lord's Acre plan. We not only saw this plan, but we actually got in the field and helped them harvest the crop of sweet potatoes. I thought it was a grand idea of the members of the church cooperating and working together to keep up the church. We also saw the Dana Baptist Church, which was built through the Lord's Acre plan.
Sally worked in dining, where she learned to bake pies and cakes. She sang in the choir and played the piano at chapel and in the college orchestra. She became friends with her supervisors, Catherine Larson and Evelyn DeVries.
My first work assignment was the kitchen, where Mrs. Larson was in charge. We became very good friends and remained so even after I had left the college. I believe Ernst and Doan may remember me, and I have very fond memories of this very special family. I have also kept in close touch with Evelyn DeVries, who has kept me posted on the activities at Warren Wilson throughout the years.
Because her major was music, her teachers worried that it might be difficult for her to get a job. Based on their recommendation, she was accepted into a nursing program at Sage Memorial Hospital in Ganado, Arizona. Although Kuni and Sally were at Warren Wilson for only a year, both women expressed deep gratitude for their experiences during that critical year. For many decades after she left, Kuni sent monetary gifts to the college every year, long before the Alumni Association was established. Sally also contributed regularly and maintained lifelong friendships with Catherine Larson and Evelyn DeVries.
Dear Mrs. Larson, received your dear card and note today and was very happy to hear that you are both well. I've seen pictures of Ernst in the college paper, and I understand that little Doan is now married and I suppose has children of his own. Hard to believe that so much time has gone by. I think of you often and of your kindness to me while I was there. Enclosed is a snap of me, Susan, and Andy. Love, Sally. My love to Fesser, too. September 1969.
In 1993, Sally returned to Warren Wilson College for her 50th class reunion.
Dear Sally, I want to convey to you how delighted we were to have you attend your 50th reunion class at Warren Wilson College. Your story is a very special one, and I was touched to learn about your special memories of the college and how much your year here meant to you. It certainly meant a great deal to everyone to have you return after so many years. I've told your story many times and with great pride. Please consider this a standing invitation to return again soon, and perhaps during our 1994 centennial year. Your alma mater is very proud of you, and it was my privilege to finally get to meet you. Sincerely, Doug Orr, President, Warren Wilson College, October 1993.
Dear Dr. Orr, thank you for your recent letter with the enclosed copy of the news article. It was very thoughtful of you to write, and I feel very honored to have received your invitation to return to the college. I shall always remember the friendly reception I received from all of you, and I shall certainly be back if and when I can. Throughout the years, I have held such pleasant memories of the beauty of the Warren Wilson campus and the warm friendship which all the students had shown me during my year there. I cannot say enough about the faculty and staff who were so strongly supportive. I regretted leaving then, but I am glad to have had the opportunity to return and see that strength still remains at Warren Wilson. You are fortunate to be leading such a fine school and such a fine group of people. My very best to you. Sincerely, Sally. November 1993.
For tomorrow will bring fortunes for you, a new day for you, and loving friends waiting for you. September.